This is Irontrader. This is the last call of the day. So we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, ETHU, ETF, ETHU, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and we'll take a look at the indexes, which are all nice and green. At the end of the video, the support and resistance levels are posted for crude and natural gas, along with the EIA report for crude oil. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation by selling stock on ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Bitcoin daily and weekly chart. Now, this was some really, really good trading, okay? So you can see here, if we just look to the past, okay, we had this double top situation, okay? Very, very nice. Came right on down, sold right off, rallied up, held that 50-day, and then we had that selling. Okay, the reason we had that selling was they were selling about $1.5 billion worth of crypto, and then there was about $22 billion worth of options. Now, last Friday, we had that indecision candle. Then you can see how she just ripped right on up here very, very nicely. Okay, now we got to look at, I don't know if that was last Friday. Let me see. That was a Friday, yeah. Okay, on the 26th. Okay, anyway, we rallied up very, very nicely here. Got all the way to 127.240 level. Now, yesterday, you noticed this candle. Okay, so this is why you have to really look at candles. Now, I posted this on my playlist to look at candlesticks, okay, and chart patterns. But what you're looking for is topping tail candle situations, okay? So when you see these candles, okay, like we had here, okay, got a big topping tail situation going on there. Okay, we had a little bit of a topping tail there. We definitely have a topping tail situation going here. It all depends on what kind of candle you get. Now, you get this candle here. You can see where it topped right up, and then she finished right at the bottom. This one here had no topping tail, but it had a bottom tail. Okay, so what that told me is two things is what I looked for yesterday after hours when I bought the BITX. Okay, so what it told me is I'm trading against the bottom there at that 121.420. That was the bottom tail, and then it has that 8-day right underneath it. Now, again, anything can happen. You know, this is trading. This could have came down to the 21-day, but that's not what it is. So this is so far as an inside day. So reason being is I looked at everything. Number one that I looked at is we had a rally on Monday, and then we had a sell-off on Tuesday, okay? And then we, usually it's a turnaround Tuesday, and that was to the downside this time versus maybe to the upside. And then Wednesday it looks like it wants to recover. This market doesn't want to sell off, okay? It's just that simple, especially like in the NASDAQ. The Dow and the S&P, everything is all up there today. So we have nice and green. So how I traded this is what I watched. I watched a couple of things. Number one, turnaround Tuesday. Wednesday usually is not to have a sell. We haven't had any sell. It's usually just the opposite again. So that's one thing you watch. Then I watched at this. See, you had a bottoming tail situation. We did not have this topping tail. We had the bottoming tail, which tells me unless we lose that, okay, then this is going to go right here sideways to up action. If it does lose it, the 8-day is going to catch it up right there. Okay, very, very easy. Now, so today was a really, really good trade. I bought the BITX. Okay, now I own this for the long. I own 5,000 shares long, and I trade 5,000 shares. So I weeded into it yesterday. Okay, I went there and I bought 3,000 shares after hours. Okay, and then what I do is I just rallied it right on up here, and look how nice this was here today. Okay, so remember, one day does not make a market. I always say that. So if we just have one day down without that topping tail situation, then that next day could be very, very nice and go right up to the top side. Okay, so we have these candles like we had here. Okay, see how we had that big red candle? And then what we had is we had that bottoming tail, and that tells you that you got to get long and you can take it up, but you got to watch that 8-day. It's the same thing here. We had that all the way to the bottom, but the next day we had that bottoming tail, tells you got to get in, and then we could rally it all the way on up. Now we have a very similar candle like we had here. Okay, so we had that bottoming situation. Next day we have an inside day, pretty much like we had now, except ours is green. Okay, so it just tells me that this wants to go higher. Okay, so now we look at the RSI here, 62, plenty of room to run, the green over your red kind of a situation. So what we're looking on the downside here, obviously you want to look to today's low, 121.950. Then 121.420, then we have this 120.939 level. All right. Okay. Then what we do is we can come right here to the top of that candle. You're looking at 119.810 level. We'll come over the top of the candle right there, 119.145, and we look to the bottom there, 118.470. Then we can take at the top of that candle, like say 117.335. Then we're looking for your 21-day at that 116 level, and then we're looking for your 50-day at 115 level, and then we can march all the way down to your 100 SMA. But as long as we're above this 8-day, see, when you get above it, Very, very key. Until you lose that 8-day, then she goes lower. Okay, now on the upside, we made this nice high of 124,940. So all you have to do is look to the left of the chart here. You had 125. Okay, see this? 129,940. This is what I'm watching today, right there at that 125.2025. So he couldn't quite get there. Okay, so then this is what we want to watch. 125,200. That's the key. You get above that, then we can go to yesterday's high, 126,295, and then you retest up here at 127,240. Now you crack that, we're going to go to that 130, you're going to go to that 135 level. Right now, the stock market is at nosebleed areas. It's a trader's market, okay? But there's a lot of good trades. Tesla, great trade today. Palantir, great trade. Netflix, good trade. Microsoft, my TQQs. Meta, Amazon, NVIDIA. You know what I'm saying? There's so many good trades that are going on out there right now. Okay, so don't be afraid. Trade the market here. Right now, it's not panning out where you have that big sell signal, end of August, September, October. We might get it in November because a lot of times we get what they call tax selling that they want to sell. But again, right now, we just don't have that. Okay, we have a trader's market. So bottom line, watch today's low, watch yesterday's low, and watch that 8-day. As long as we're above that 8-day, it's sideways to up action. On the high side here, 124,940, but you want to watch the top of this candle, 125.25. That's going to be key. And then this one's going to be ultimate key, 125.200. That was your breakout. See, we had a double top, and then this was your breakout above that top of that candle. So we get above that, then we're going to be looking for that 127.240. Crack that 130, 135 level. Now, you look at the weekly chart, just a beautiful uptrending chart here. Very, very nice. And now for the week, we have what they call an indecision candle. See that? Looks like a cross, kind of an indecision. Now, you topped out above this, but you got to close. That's why I always bring it up this 125.200, which is basically the top of that candle. So you have to close above it. See how when you put these price channels on, it makes life so much easier because that way we know what we have to get above. Okay, we have to get above it. Now all it is just the top of that candle. Makes life very, very easy. So you have to close above 125.200 for the week. That's by Friday. Then we can retest that 127 area. Then we can rip up higher. Now, RSI is sitting at 64. That's plenty of room to run. The green, it looks like it wants to cross over. Very, very bullish uptrending chart. Okay, let's take a look here now at ETHU ETF, ETHU. All right, here we have the ETHU ETF, ETHU. Now, if I wasn't trading Bitcoin, I'd be trading this. But again, just always remember, you can't trade everything. Pick out, 3 to 5 things that you really like to trade. Okay. Yeah, you can buy and hold a lot of stuff. Like I got to know how many stocks I got that I'm buying and hold, like Amazon and Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Netgas from way, way back, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the trading. Okay. Just limit yourself to 3 to 5. Keep your trading simple. That's how you make money. Okay. Consistent money is the key. So I trade Bitcoin, so I don't trade Ethereum, but a lot of people do. And it's also related to a lot of things like BMNR. That also goes off of Ethereum. But here's the ETF. Okay. So yesterday we had that big ass red candle. It's kind of engulfed the whole thing. Look at 2 days, it completely engulfed. But it left that bottoming tail. See that? Now today we made a lower low, yes, but it held the 8-day. Okay. You held this 21-day and you held that 50-day. Very, very nice. Now it looks like it wants to go right back up again. So right now you had a high of 153.80. What we're looking for is right here, 152.95. Now your next level is going to be right here to the bottom of this candle, 156.91, and then we'll look to the top there at 158 flat, right? Then we'll come up to the top of this candle at 165.12, and then we have right there, we got 167, and then we have 169.45. We crack above that, you got right there as your target, 171. Then your next level, 174.97. Then we have 175.80. Then we got sticky over here at 183. And then we have 186.68. And then 188.73. That is your breakout. Okay? Often to see this double top situation. Now you have to get it back above like Bitcoin did. And once you crack that, then she's going to go to that 200 mark. But right now she's came down and sold and held all your nice key support levels. Nice. Okay, downside, watch 146.76. Next level, right there, your 21-day, 145. And then watch your 50-day at 144.94. Now, if you lose that, right to the bottom of the candle, that's your next support, 141, and then we come to the bottom there, 137.40. There's your gap. Then look to the top of the candle, 130.90. Gap, fill, and then we look to the bottom there, 125.40. Then we can just zip it right on down, 114. We have your big retest down here at 109, which lines up very, very nice here with your 100 SMA. But I like to show you where it can go. But as long as we're holding that 8-day, that 21-day, and 50-day, this is going to be sideways to up action. Now, you can see here for the week here, we really like to hold that 8-day. That would be very, very good. So when we're up in this area, we're holding that nice 8-day. And I said, okay, come down all the way to the 50-day. Didn't quite make it there, but very nice. But look at this bottoming tail for the week. That tells you next time it's going to go up. Once you crack that high, it's going to go higher and went right into that 8-day. Now, this week so far, nice higher high, higher low, and we're holding the top portion of that candle very, very nice. So we really want to hold that 153 level. That would be good. And then we can just, obviously take the levels all the way up until you hit that 188 level. Now, we cracked that 188 level. You got a nice big target all the way up here. Look at there, all the way up there at that 251. Okay, very, very nice. I might even jump into this. We close above this 188.73. The hell with it. I'll take Bitcoin and Ethereum. You know what I'm saying? I'll jump right in there. And because this is going to be your target, it's going to be that 251 area. Very, very nicely. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. All right, here we have gold. Now, this is absolutely nosebleed area. You're way above the area. The 80, the green is way up here, but this rallying right on up. So your next target here is going to be 4,100 and then 4,120, okay, because it's going to overshoot, just like it did here, okay? See at 38.20, I said going to go 38 and then 38.20, 138.24. Same way with here. I said 3900 and then 39.20, shot over by a couple. And then we're going to rally all the way up to here to this 4,000 mark. It came up to 4,014, just a little shy of the 4,020. But now you just keep on rallying up here, but you are at absolute nosebleed. This is FOMO. People are chasing this to go higher and higher and higher. But right now, I'm not going to chase it. Okay, that's not going to be good. Now, I did take a trade into silver today on the SLV, but I did not take a trade in the gold there today. But I'm looking for really is 4120. 4,100 next, then 4,120, but you could run that all the way up to 5,000. But these charts, man, I say, just always remember when gold and silver, when they come off hard, and then they just sit there for years. So just always remember that. Now, silver here, well, let's see, we got a nice trade today, SLV. I'm all out of the trade, okay? Because it came right on down. You held that 8-day. I'm all out of trade now, so I have no position at all in silver. I just trade this daily. GLD for the long, SLV for silver, gold and silver. And then what I do is just take it off at the end of the day. I'm not what you call a big gold and silver trader. I don't really have the confidence. I mean, you are at such a nosebleed areas here that I used to say when it comes off, it's going to come off really hard. For me, this is a trader's market. I don't care if you're trading the Dow, S&P, whatever you're trading, it's a trader's market. And a lot of times what you do is you will unwind at that top. And then when it comes down, it's going to come down very, very hard. So remember, use stop losses. Put money in your pocket. That's the name of the game. Okay, so on the downside, what you're looking for is needs to hold at 48.61. There's your price channel. We lose that. You're going to come right here to your 8-day at 47.64. Then we'll come down here at 47.01, 46.55, and then we have 45.71 level, and then we come down to your 21-day at 45.02. Okay, now upside 49.19. I said you're going to push it when we're down here. I said looks like they want to push it to 50. This is going to be my target is $50 here on the silver. So I'm going to see what's going to happen when the futures open. Okay, but we'll just see how it all shakes out. But we're really not rallying up high. What we're doing is just a really, really just slow crawl right on up. The same way with what gold has, it's just crawling right up. But eventually, it's going to hit the wall, mark my words, okay? So 49.19, I'm looking for that 50 mark on the old silver. Okay, let's take a look here at crude oil and Natgas. Here we have crude oil, here we have natural gas. Now, when you look at the EIA report, which is posted here after this video, you had big builds, over 3 million barrels that you're building on here on crude oil, okay? But what it is the OPEC had their meeting. They're going to put 137,000 barrels on per day here come November. But gold is still, or crude oil is still in play for the next couple of weeks here of October, okay? And then I think it's going to be a nice short ski all the way down to usually the first week of December. Then you run it long again into the first couple of days of January, okay? So you can go on my playlist there. There's seasonality charts. You can check that out. Now, what do we have here? We had this nice double top situation, okay? Very, very nice. Sold right on off. get down to that 60-40 level, never hit the 50s, but came pretty close, and then rallied up. Yesterday, we've had that bottoming tail. See this green candle with the bottoming tail? And then what it is, it got above the 8 today, jumped up, and where did it go? Right into the 21 day. Stopped it cold right there. So upside, 62.97. Very simple. Next level, 63.68. Next level, 64.79. Next level right there, 65.40, and then 66.53. So right now, the price is above the 8 day, but you got strong resistance at 21 day, 50 day, 100 day, 200 SMA. Now, downside, you want to watch 61.88. That's going to be very, very key. Then we come over top of that candle, 61.38. Then we'll come to the bottom there at 61.04. And then we'll come down to sticky here at 60.72. And then 60.40. That is your big test. Okay? Now, we lose that 60.40 right here. This is your target at 59.74. Then next big target, 57.74. And then we have right down at the bottom there at that, what do we got here? Yeah, right there at that 55.30 level. Okay, but again, you got to lose this level right here. It doesn't want to, just like the market, it just doesn't want to go away kind of a situation. Okay, but always look at this double top situation. It was a really nice short all the way on down. Now today I scalped the UCO. Okay, I didn't get that much out of it. Hit 22.17 and then went up all the way up to 22.56 there. Okay, so but I got 20 cents out of that today. Okay, which it doesn't seem like much, but you're trading 5,000 shares, so that's pretty good there in the crude for what it is. There isn't really much movement, as they say. Okay, now if you look at here, we have 47. That's not overbought, oversold. The green is still below your red, but just be a little bit cautious in this kind of a time frame. But again, crude could rally up if you have any kind of a disruption. Natty gas, woo, look at natural gas. Now, today, I wasn't going to do it, but I took a short in natural gas on KOLD. Now, I have no position again. Now I'm looking to trade it back on the long side. Okay, but yeah, I used to say I didn't want to, but when I seen it, it was above this 200-day. Okay, and then I could see it just getting red here. And I'm thinking, oh man, I just jumped in that KOLD. Okay, on a KOLD, you had a bottom of 61.92 and a high of 33.74 level. Okay, so you know, you had a pretty good thing, but I got $1.25 out of the KOLD today. Okay, I didn't trade that many shares. What did I trade there? 2,500 shares. Okay, so I didn't trade that much, but I traded 2,500 shares. I just wanted to see how it was going to go, and boom, big red candle. Now what we're doing is we're trading this box. Okay, 358 on the top, and then we'll just look at the bottom of that candle, 324 on the bottom. Okay, so we're trading this box right now. Okay, just like that. So upside, we want to get back above that 8-day, 3.37. And then your next level is 3.45 level. And then we have that 3.48, which is your 200-day. And then we go to today's high at 355. And then 358 is your breakout. You crack above that, right there is your target at 3.62. Now, downside, well, again, we came down here. We made that low today of 3.31. So you just look to the left of the chart. What'd you have? 3.3007. Okay. And then we look to the top of that candle, 3.3s. Okay. So right now, we're looking here of holding that situation right there. Now, if we lose it, then we come right to the bottom, okay, 3.29, and then we have your 100-day at 3.24. Okay, we lose that, well, you can come right there at 3.19 level, then we have 3.16 level, and then we have 3.12. Okay, very, very easy. But we do have this gap, and we have the fill, but again, we got to lose that 100-day and that 21-day in order to get to that gap and that fill. Okay, so let's just see while the futures open back at 6, if we can reclaim that 8-day. Okay, then we can maybe take a nice rally up. But remember, we're just trading this box right here. Okay, natural gas, this is how natural gas acts. It just, very, very fickle. That's why I like trading it. It's wet and wild, like a girl I used to date. Okay, anyway, okay, back to trading here. Just watch that 8-day on the upside, okay? That's exactly what you're watching. And on the downside, just watch that bottom of the candle, that 3.29, and watch that 100-day at 3.24. That's going to be very, very critical. Now, you can see here, this is coming right on off here. So you're down at 57. That's not overbought, oversold. The green is still over your red. You're coming into this time of the year frame, so don't get too excited with it here. I don't think you're going to have a big sell down. And if you do, I think it'd be like a buying opportunity. But right now, for me, it's just going to be a two-way trade. I didn't really want to take the KOLD today, but, sometimes you got to do what you got to do when you start seeing it selling down. Just jump right on it. Okay, let's take a look here at the indexes. All right, here we have the indexes, okay? You got negative divergence, we got negative divergence, we got negative divergence, okay? We got flat ski all the way around on the MACD. Doesn't seem to matter. We're just winding right on up, okay? So for me, this is just a trader's market. You get down this area, this area, this area, and all these charts, that's your buy and hold. This is just a trade going up. I think eventually this is going to come off, and it's going to come off very, very hard. We just have to know when. It might be in November because remember, you got tax selling that's going to be coming up here pretty soon, and that could take it down quite a bit. Now, we made that high of 47.49. That's no surprise. I figured it's going to go to that 47 mark. But you notice that it came down here, but we're holding this 8-day. So as long as you're holding that 8-day, sideways up action. Next level raise is your 21-day. Next level is your 50-day, and then we can just march it right down to your 100-day. But right now we're uptrending. Okay, we're not losing that 21-day. Look at that. See, even though we lose the 8, the 21-day, the catch-all is catching it all right there nicely. Okay, now on the upside, you got to crack above that 47.49, and then you've got blue sky again. Okay, so 47.100, 47.500, 48,000. Okay, we don't know that. Now, 67.55. I figured we hit that 67 mark, which we did. And today we hit 67.55, so maybe they'll take that up to 6,800, and you can push it all the way to 7,000, kind of a situation. Downside right here, just watch that right there, the 8-day, watch the 21-day, and then watch this 50 SMA. That's going to be all your key support level here. But we do have that negative divergence, but right now it don't mean dick. Okay, NASDAQ, look at this. All the way up here, 23,000. So I figured we're going to go I said we're going to push this up to 23,000. I said 40,000 and 47,000 there, 6,700 right there, and 23,000 here. And here we are at 23,000. Now, again, we cracked that. You go 23.1, 23.2, 23.5, 24,000. We don't know. But this is, to me, is a trader's market. This is not like a buy and hold kind of a situation, okay? Because we got some really good trading here. Now, upside, just watch that 23.1 to 9. Downside, watch that 8-day. Watch that 21-day, you lose that. We got the 50-day, we got the 100-day all the way on down. Okay, so right now, it's the same thing I'm saying every day. Just trade the market until, she's going to come off. And eventually it's going to come off, and it's going to come off extremely hard. And this is like a beyond V-shaped situation. And when you get these, okay, you can research this if you like to on the internet. When you get them V-shaped rallies and they explode like that, when that comes off, it comes off extremely hard. And all you need is one little thing. But just remember, you got tax selling coming up here before the end of the year, so just pay attention to that. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here tomorrow morning. Now, remember, the EIA report for natural gas will be out tomorrow at 10:30, and that's usually a pretty good market mover for old natty gas. Okay, so just keep a hold of that, and then always watch that weather. Very, very cold on outside. So it's going to be worse. It looks like it's going to be a cold winter. I'll look at different metrics. And she looks like she's going to be pretty cold. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow morning. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.